¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. Alio, welcome. Cosmic Seeking. How's it going, everybody? Today, it's going to be a short stream, or at least trying to keep it on schedule. I am very tired today, so Tomorrow, folks, is the birthday stream. Alia with the 11 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hold on, folks. Let me try something. There we go. Michael Hassler, how's it going? We'll see if Trump gets any more felony charges. Yeah, supposedly there might be a decision soon. Heat, how's it going? Supposedly there might be a decision soon as to whether or not there's going to be any more indictments. So we'll see. Tomorrow is the birthday stream, so even if it's for a moment, we get to hang out for a little bit. Maybe as a birthday gift, we'll get an indictment. We'll see an indictment, but it's my birthday, so I'm good. Hey, happy birthday! One after the other. While Trump MAGA buddies want Biden impeached, yep. It was grand jury that was met up today. Yeah, so we might see a decision tomorrow? Maybe? Echo Rest the Dragon, how's it going? Who knows when that will come, if at all. Yellow King, how's it going? Or my birthday on the 31st could see Georgia indictment. Hey, any one of those is fine by me. Any one of those is fine. That's right. You get a charge and you get impeached. Well, the difference is, like, if somebody gets impeached, you know, it is what it is. But if somebody gets charged on felony charges, that's a whole that's a whole other ballgame. Either way, an indictment at any point soon will be good news. As accountability is necessary. Impeach means Senate vote. Charge means the jury or judge. Yeah, I mean, the Senate's not going to impeach Biden. That's just not a thing that's going to happen. But yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll also see if there's any news that happened, because, like, the grand jury met today, but they didn't vote, did they? I don't think so. That would have been all over the news. There was, like, certain people on Twitter saying that, you know, we could expect an indictment maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but we just don't know. And this is for the Georgia case, which is super important. It still blows my mind that this guy, along with the Republican Party, made coordinated efforts to overturn the election. Jack Smith, Trump hating is busy. Well, Jack Smith isn't involved in this one, right? This is just a Georgia one. Because like the other one is the January 6th one. That's a whole other. That's a whole other problem. Your birthday is at maximum per session? Yes, we went over that. Somebody pointed out that, like, because I started realizing that a lot of our birthdays are very close. And it turns out that it's just like the way it is. The most common months are July, August, and September, I think. All right, folks. So let's get some videos started, and some headlines. I think we should probably start with this one.
Find Peter Parker.
What? Whoa! Good movie, by the way.
DeSantis is somebody who will work in the dark, work in the shadows. He will still accomplish what Trump wants to accomplish. The latest video out of the Ron DeSantis campaign features none other than me. That's right. Yours truly is featured heavily, actually, in the latest Ron DeSantis campaign video. So I'm going to show you the clip that they use, and there's several clips they use over about 30 seconds. I'm going to show you that clip. I'm also going to give you the context to the clips from that video that they did not use, which is really interesting, what they did not choose to include for obvious reasons. And then I'll also give you a clip of a friend of mine, also heavily featured in the video. So I'll show you who that is later on. But man, this is just, it's hilarious to see this. Of course, friend of mine, Mike Figueredo of the Humanist Report, was already featured heavily in a previous video from the DeSantis War Room. So the DeSantis War Room is who put this video together. They are the campaign arm, the online arm for the Ron DeSantis campaign. And they are incredibly online. Like, the entire campaign seems to be about trying to appeal to the furthest right-wing, 4chan individual, as opposed to trying to generate a campaign that's actually going to, win a primary. But let me get to this clip, and I'll give you more context and some a real criticism I have of their use of this, apart from just the lack of context here. But check this out. DeSantis is somebody who will work in the dark, work in the shadows. He will still accomplish what Trump wants to accomplish.
Maybe he's going to do things in a quieter manner, but believe me, the end result is not going to be good.
But he will do so successfully, because he's not over the top. He isn't in your face. He doesn't have a lot of baggage.
He's not going to be somebody that tweets in the middle of the night some idea and then has his administration figure.
Yeah, I don't know about that anymore. Did you see the DeSantis video with the Nazi symbolism? Yep, we went over that yesterday. The black sun. I mean, like, it's indistinguishable from fucking 4chan posting, right? And like, the DeSantis campaign retweeted it and then deleted it. Like, all right, yeah, okay. Yeah, the internet is forever. You can't really hide that. Marjorie Taylor Greene headlines Biden's campaign video. Yes, I saw the campaign video where she said something to the effect of like, oh, Biden is gonna finish FDR's legacy or something like that, LBJ's legacy, and like, that's supposed to be a bad thing? That was a good meme.
Figuring it out how to do it on the back end. He would figure it out on the front end, plot it out, and then announce it.
So Ron DeSantis, I think, is more dangerous.
I mean, true.
All right. So I'm going to get to what they did not include from that video in their video. And then I'll get to, the friend of mine that's also in this, which the clips they use of that person, also hilarious. But just to properly frame this is an almost 6-minute video from the DeSantis campaign that is just random people, mostly YouTubers, criticizing DeSantis and warning about how he's dangerous and how he's going to do terrible things. As I say there, how he's more dangerous because he works in the shadows. He's covered less, or he would be covered less because he's less outlandish. This is a campaign video. You're marketing your candidate as somebody who works in the shadows, who is not, transparent about what they're doing. This is a selling feature for you. This campaign, this is why they're doing terrible.
Right, because the whole point is that they don't like the quiet parts being said out loud, and supposedly DeSantis can offer an answer to that, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I don't think that's the case anymore. The reason why they marketed him, or they were trying to market him as someone who, doesn't do things in your face or who does things in the shadows, is because they don't like the quiet parts being said out loud. That's the reason for it. That's why it's a supposed selling point. He's trying to get Trump's sloppy seconds.
And I'll get to polling in a second here. They are so very online. It is all about trying to appeal to the furthest right lunatics on Twitter, as opposed to trying to, win a primary. Even if I should be fair though, even if they did campaign properly, DeSantis is such a horrible candidate and lacks all charisma that I don't think it would really matter. So I don't think this is the reason their campaign is sinking, but it's not helping. Now, before I get to the context and what polling shows and what it showed at the time when I shot that video back in December, I do want to show you just one thing that really stood out to me. And that's how white I look here. They took all the saturation out of the video.
Yeah, like that is heavily touched up. But anyways, we need to pause for this good meme. Like Ben Shapiro, not only did Ben Shapiro see the movie, so he contributed to the massive box office numbers, but now he's setting on fire, which presumably presumably the Barbies that he's setting on fire he had to buy. So he bought the Barbie movie ticket, Barbie dolls, just to set them on fire. Okay, the 90s calls. They want their jean jacket back. Well, they want their jean jacket back from him. Okay, jean jackets are not exactly all that bad. But yeah. Oh man. Ben Shapiro, 39 years old, films himself setting fire to Barbie dolls because he's manly and mad. Man.
I don't look this white in the actual video, but for some reason they wanted me to look, I don't know, as ghostly as possible. So they really brought the saturation down. And even comparing to other people, like, this coloring on this looks fine. Pac-Man looks largely fine. But they really brought the saturation down on me. It's remarkable, just how poorly they tried to make me look. But worth mentioning here, Fox News covered this as well. And so this video, their headline here, DeSantis War Room released a compilation clip of activists on the left freaking out over his presidency. This video came out from DeSantis on Sunday. I'm shooting this Monday night. I did not hear about my inclusion in this video until like midday today, when someone finally tagged me on Twitter and told me I was in it. Like, I'm not saying that's an indication that the DeSantis campaign is doing poorly, but it kind of is for me. Because if I was in a Trump campaign video, I feel like I'd be tagged pretty soon. Someone would let me know and let me know I was in the video. but nobody is really paying all that close attention to Ron DeSantis. So the fact that this went, a day and a half until I found out that I was in it is pretty bizarre. Now, let me give you the context for where they pulled those clips from.
I'm often asked what differentiates me from the other.
This is polling back in the earliest this goes from
Just to be clear, Katie Porter's based.
538 here is January. So this is when Trump was at 43, DeSantis not too far behind, just high 30s there. That's the context for my video, which was shot in December, but it was around there. Trump and DeSantis were polling a lot closer nationally, so which went to a lot of my commentary in that video. But I did say a couple of things in my video that they used that they of course did not use. So let me show you the
Cancelado McBlues official, welcome. Thank you for the follow.
Trump, I think, still has the charisma that DeSantis doesn't. A lot of Trump's ongoing popularity and support from his base is because he is essentially a right-wing comedian. DeSantis, I don't think, has anywhere near the kind of charisma that Trump does. So a lot of these numbers can change once both figures are out sort of battling against each other. Ron DeSantis, at the beginning, when the vaccines were first being rolled out, DeSantis got the vaccine to his rich buddies and wealthy zip codes earlier than everybody else. So why would he be giving the vaccine early to his donors and wealthy Republicans if he thought the vaccine was dangerous? So it's very interesting that, of course, they didn't include those clips in their campaign video, but that's from the same video that they used. So of course, I'm discussing Ron DeSantis and his lack of charisma, as I've discussed throughout, and that really has been his downfall. And on the vaccine thing, just quickly, in case you don't know this or weren't aware, DeSantis defends his choice of wealthy senior community for pop-up vaccine site. This is back in early 2021 when the vaccines were first rolling out. He rolled them out early to wealthy areas that were big donors to him, including this one here. So a testee, Governor Ron DeSantis, blew off criticism Wednesday that the state's latest pop-up COVID-19 vaccine site was limited to residents of wealthy neighborhoods in Manatee County, including a senior community with family ties to a major DeSantis donor.
Yeah. Okay. It's pretty obvious what happened there. Wait, they used this stuff from his video? Yeah, they clipped the Rational National video and tried to use it, or did use it actually, in a DeSantis campaign ad.
So
that was posted by the DeSantis War Room, which is essentially like a campaign arm on Twitter for the DeSantis campaign.
Guy rolling out the vaccine to his wealthy campaign donors and their family early. But of course, now he wants to he's calling for a grand jury to investigate COVID-19 vaccines. So he used the vaccine, gave it to his rich buddies, and now, of course, he's playing this skepticism around the vax. That's what he's doing now for this campaign, to try and gain some support from people who may have been Trump supporters but are wary about Trump's support of the vaccine. It's all just a ridiculous campaign. But last thing, let me show you who else they included. Of course, Olay. From a couple of Leftist Mafia clips as well. So let me show you her inclusion in this video, because the clips they use of her also just ridiculous.
I honestly believe DeSantis was forged in hell. There's no doubt in my mind. Look at my face. My daddy was like, oh, they really sleeping on Trump. It's gonna be Trump. I'm like, Daddy, I'm telling you, open your eyes. DeSantis is a fucking problem, Daddy. He's more sinister. You know why? Because there's less buffoonery to it. Scary, a scary man.
Really scary.
It is incredible that they include this in a campaign video. Here Olay is calling him, saying he was forged in hell. DeSantis is a problem. He's scary.
Yeah, like DeSantis is forged in hell. How do you plan to get the evangelical vote like that? Like, how do you square that circle, right?
Really scary. These are, again, selling features for a candidate for president. It really is amazing. And to me, it speaks to the obvious racism inherent in the DeSantis campaign. You have a black woman here discussing how DeSantis is scary. That plays well for a very racist white base that DeSantis has. So this is their attempt to win a primary, but
Globus.
You are really speaking to just largely the online people, because most people don't know who I am, don't know who Olay is. So I don't know, like, it's just, I don't know what this campaign is for. I don't know what they're doing. You can't win a primary this way. Bizarre stuff. But there you go.
Well, I mean, it's targeted to the far right.
I gotta say,
the audience is the far right. Okay? The audience is the far right. A super online campaign arm that's using like online podcasters and online like political pundits. I mean, it's kind of clear, in my opinion, that the target here is just the far right. You know, like the 4chan posters, right? That's it. That's who the target audience is. It's not much simpler than that.
I was kind of happy to finally be included. You know, Mike Figueredo was included once. Pac-Man's been in a bunch of times, so many others in this, you know, progressive YouTube space. I'm glad to finally be recognized for a DeSantis campaign ad, and I hope to see my inclusion again.
Damn. Now I feel kind of left out. They should have included me. All right. Take it away.
Thank you very
Senator.
much for joining me today.
Whoa.
Thank you very much.
Senator Bernard Sanders.
Thank you very much for joining me today. The United States Senate is now debating an $886 billion defense authorization bill. This is more money than all the other discretionary programs in the federal budget combined. And what I'm saying now is that unless there are major changes to this bill, I intend to vote against it, and let me tell you why. Everybody knows that our country faces enormous crises. As a result of climate change, our planet is experiencing unprecedented and rising temperatures. City after city, country after country are seeing record-breaking heat waves. Along with the rest of the world, we need to make major investments to transform our energy system away from fossil fuels and into energy efficiency and sustainable energy, or the life that we are leaving our kids and future generations will become increasingly unhealthy and precarious. Our healthcare system is broken. While the insurance companies and the drug companies make hundreds of billions of dollars in profit, 85 million Americans are uninsured or underinsured. Our life expectancy is declining, going down. And we have a massive shortage of doctors, nurses, mental health practitioners, and dentists. Our educational system is teetering. While we have one of the highest rates of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth, millions of parents cannot find affordable and quality childcare. The academic test scores of our K through 12 students lag behind many other countries. And the number of our young people who graduate from college is falling further and further behind many other major nations. All the while, 45 million Americans are struggling under the weight of student debt. Our housing stock is totally inadequate. While
This dude's literally playing off the 4 pillars: food, housing, education, and healthcare. Imagine if you was president, it wouldn't be perfect. Man, we'd be on the right path. Certainly better than what we are now, 100%. I would prefer Bernie Sanders 10,000 times over the current president.
Gentrification is causing rents to soar in many parts of this country. Some 600,000 Americans are homeless, and 18 million people are spending more than half of their limited incomes on housing. 3 blocks, just a few blocks away from our nation's capital, Americans are sleeping out on the streets. These are just some of the crises our country faces, and we're not dealing with any of them in a significant way. And then there is defense spending. Well, that is a whole different story. The proposed military budget that the Senate is now debating would increase defense spending by $28 billion to over $886 billion.
That's absurd.
The highest spending level ever.
It's absurd.
The total, in fact, is over $900 billion if you include nuclear weapons spending through the Department of Energy. So let me be clear. I will oppose this bloated defense budget and efforts to further increase military spending through a defense supplemental bill for 3 major reasons. First, more military spending is unnecessary.
Based.
The $886 billion in defense spending agreed in the debt ceiling deal matches the Pentagon's budget request and is more than sufficient to protect the United States and our allies. In other words, this amount of money is what the Defense Department asked for. They don't need more. The United States now spends more than 3 times what China spends on its military. This record high defense spending would come in spite of the end of the war in Afghanistan and despite the fact that the United States spends more on the military than the next 10 countries combined, most of whom are allies. Second, the Pentagon...
Yeah, I mean, like, even at 808 whatever billion dollars is absurd. It's absurd. Hey, the Simulacra, how's it going? And MAGA and GOP would not be worse. Yes, they would be worse. Than what? I'm sorry. They call everyone a socialist. They don't call them, can't call them a socialist, right? He's a greater socialist, yeah.
Cannot keep track of the dollars it already has, leading to massive waste, fraud, and abuse in the sprawling military-industrial complex. The Pentagon accounts for about 2/3 of all federal contracting activity, obligating more money every year than all civilian federal agencies combined. Yet the Department of Defense, the DoD, remains the only major federal agency that cannot pass an independent audit. Last year,
Yeah, here's a question. Why? Why? Where's all that money?
the department was unable to account for over half of its assets, which are in excess of $3.1 trillion.
And like they're asking for a massive 800 and something billion dollars.
The Government Accountability Office, the GAO, reports that the DoD still cannot accurately track its finances or post transactions to the correct accounts. Each year, auditors find billions of dollars in the Pentagon's proverbial couch cushions. In fiscal year 2022, Navy auditors found $4.4 billion in untracked inventory, while the Air Force identified $5.2 billion worth of variances in its general ledger. A serious effort to address this waste should be undertaken before Congress throws more money at the Pentagon.
True.
Third, much of this addition...
I hope you would think more widely. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? There's no need for $880 something billion for the defense budget. If they can't even keep track of this, if they can't even keep track and pass audits and waste billions of dollars, that we have no idea of what's going on, no, they do not need 800 and whatever billion dollars. This is ridiculous.
Additional military spending will go to line the pockets of hugely profitable defense contractors.
How much of that money ends up in the U.S. economy as wages and purchases? We don't know because they can't pass audits. They can't pass audits. It's waste. Most of our federal budgets are allocated for major health programs. The ADB will be small increase over the $880 billion will be a small increase over the defense budget, year budgets. That's not an excuse. And furthermore, most of the federal budget's already allocated to major health programs. The United States doesn't have major health programs. How much ends up in pensions? How much of it is ending up in waste? If they can't account for it, if you can't account for it, that's a problem. Why can't they pass audits? Money does not waste or disappear, it goes somewhere. Yeah, we need to know where that somewhere is. Because if you can't account for it, why are we giving them more? If we do not know where it goes, then why are we giving them more money? Why are we giving them $886 billion?
It is a corporate welfare program by a different name. Almost half of the Pentagon budget goes to private contractors, some of whom are exploiting their monopoly positions and the trust granted them by the United States to line their pockets. Repeated investigations by the DoD Inspector General, the GAO, and CBS News have uncovered numerous instances of contractors massively overcharging the Department of Defense, helping boost these companies' profits to nearly 40%, and sometimes as high as 4,451%, while costing U.S. taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars.
That's a lot. You and your family probably get a small slice of it in ways you could never track. No, you don't know that. There's no such thing. How? How would we even get anything from the defense contractors? Question mark? This just seems not logical. Medicare and Medicaid? Okay, veteran benefits? Veteran benefits? Like the VA? The CHIP? I don't know if the CHIPS Act is healthcare. Unless you're talking about child healthcare. Anyways. Yeah, trickle down from bomb makers.
Transdim, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, and Raytheon.
That's where all the money is going to. It's these companies. A few guild members of mine get goodies from the defense industry.
Are among the offenders, dramatically overcharging the taxpayer while reaping enormous profits, seeing their stock prices soar, and handing out massive executive compensation packages. Last year, Lockheed Martin received $46 billion in unclassified federal contracts, returned $11 billion to shareholders through dividends and stock buybacks, and paid its CEO.
That's where the money is going, my dude. Who pays your wage? And where do they get that from? I get paid from a completely different industry. It has absolutely no relation to the U.S. military.
$25 million a year. Transdim, the company behind the 4,451% markup, touted $3.1 billion in profits on $5.4 billion of net sales, almost boasting to investors about just how fully it was fleecing the American taxpayer. The fact that a share of the profits from these lucrative contracts will flow back to the congressional backers of higher defense budgets in the form of campaign contributions, America's unique system of legalized bribery, makes the whole situation even more unconscionable. Let us be clear. Defending the American people is not only about pouring money into the Pentagon. It's about making sure that our children go to good schools and will have a habitable planet when they get older. It's about making sure that every American can enjoy quality health care and affordable housing. As a nation, the time is long overdue for fundamental changes to our national priorities. Cutting military spending is a good first step.
True.
Thank you very much.
The people who pay your wage probably get that money from selling the product of your labor at a profit. Right. But some of the people who pay your employer get money that started in the defense budget? No. I have no relation to the defense industry whatsoever. We're not on the same planet. We're not even in the same universe. Like, it doesn't make any sense. What you're saying makes zero sense. Think about it logically. Okay? Think about it logically. Why would you make a comment to the effect of, like, you must benefit from all this defense spending? How? How do you know that? Because I know who I work for. Wait a minute. Do you not know? Do you think, like, I don't know who I work for? My industry has nothing to do with the military. In other words, we don't have any type of like contracts with the government for defense or anything like that. Do you know where their customers get their money? No, it doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with this. That has nothing to do with this. Do you think that we need $886 billion? To what? No, it doesn't. No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. So you're saying, like, let's say that there is a customer that was a soldier, right? And they paid money for whatever it is that we do. How does that justify $886 billion defense budget? Do you think that $886 billion is all for freaking salaries? Do you think that it's all for salaries? No. It's not, though, but you're not making any sense because it has absolutely no fucking nothing to do with $886 billion. He just explained where the majority of the problems are. The majority of the money cannot be tracked. Salaries that are paid out to a soldier can be tracked. Okay? We know that. What happens with the money that can't pass audits to the tune of billions of dollars? What happens to all these fucking defense contractors who are making a profit by price gouging the government? What does 886 billion actually buy? We don't know. It can't pass audits, so we actually don't know. It's wasteful. It's wasteful. The defense contractors pay people's wages. You're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. Wages can be accounted for. Wages are on payroll. Right now, we have situations where the Pentagon can't pass an audit. The point being is that we don't know where that money is. So why are we giving them more? Does that make sense? Does the money leave there? We don't know because it can't pass an audit. So why are we giving them money if they can't tell us where the money is? So like, why are we trying to justify $886 billion of waste? Does that make sense? Is arguing amongst themselves helping? I'm not arguing. I'm pointing out that what they're saying doesn't make any sense. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. I've already explained why it doesn't make any sense. No, it is wasted, because if we don't know where the Pentagon is putting that money, then for all intents and purposes, we have no idea where the fuck it is. So why are we giving them money if they can't tell us where it's going? I.e., it's wasted. There's nothing to show for it because they can't pass an audit. We don't know where it went to. And I don't want my tax dollars just disappearing into thin air where you can't audit or you can't pass an audit. It's not just money, assets go missing too. Yes. It's impossible to waste money unless you literally burn it. I mean, like, for all intents and purposes, let's be honest. $886 billion literally is like setting money on fire. You do not need that money for the defense budget. You do not need that money for the defense budget. Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Donald Trump has caused a bit of confusion with a post that he shared or retruthed on Truth Social. Post originally from Ted Cruz. It was an image with, words on it. And the words that have caused a lot of confusion, again, because Donald Trump shared it, the words said this: January 6th will go down in history as the day the government staged a riot to cover up the fact that they certified a fraudulent election.
What? Wait a minute. Here's a question. The day the government staged a riot. Who was the government at that time? That is a crazy assumption. The money does not disappear into thin air. It does get used somehow. We don't know. We don't know. If it gets used to pump up, stock value and give these defense companies more money, like the Simulacra is pointing out and Bernie Sanders pointed out, literally just in the video, then yeah, it is wasting. That's where the money is, supposedly. And if we get auditing, then we can find out where it's being wasted and cut programs and cut things that we don't need. $886 billion is ridiculous. There's no country on the planet that does this. Why do we have to? We don't have healthcare. We don't have universal college. We don't have any of these things. And we're spending $886 billion in the military? So if the government stages a riot, he should be considering. Shouldn't he shouldn't consider pardoning anyone that was involved that day, right? Right, but it wasn't his government also?
Of course, as I said, originally posted by one-hit wonder Ted Nugent, and yes, by definition, Ted Nugent is in fact a one-hit wonder, and reshared by Donald Trump. Now, the reason this seemed to cause a lot of confusion, and to be honest, a little confusing to me too, is because Nugent is saying, and Trump is saying by sharing it, that the government staged the Capitol riot. Now, the reason that's confusing is because who was in charge of the government that day? On January 6, 2021. Because it wasn't President Biden. He wasn't president. His people were not serving at the top of the DOJ or the FBI or the CIA. So how could the government do it? Because the government was being run by Donald Trump and all of Donald Trump's appointees. Those agencies...
I mean, to be fair, like, nobody said that this guy was smart. Nobody said that Trump was smart. Okay?
You know, the FBI, the DOJ, the ones Republicans still occasionally say, they set everything up that day. They were run by Trump people. Okay, you can't even try to argue that the deep state was working behind the scenes to frame Trump for the... Trump's people were the deep state at the time. They were running the damn organizations. How in God's name does any of this make sense?
It doesn't. It doesn't have to make sense. Okay, so like I think the mistake that we're making here is that we can like explain something that was not logicked into in the first place. Okay? Like, it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to evoke a feeling for these people, okay? That's it. You just have to evoke a feeling for the cult. That's it. And like, Trump said Trump was smart. That's it. Because like the implication is that they're trying to make some weird argument that somehow the Biden administration is the one that set it up. But of course that doesn't make sense because the Biden administration wasn't the administration in charge. But that's the kind of feeling they're trying to evoke, right? It just doesn't make any sense because, well, he wasn't president at the time.
The answer, of course, is that it doesn't. I mean, it truly is as simple as that sometimes, folks. It doesn't make sense because it's not designed to make sense. Like most conspiracy theories, just the slightest little bit of poking makes it immediately and totally fall apart. And that's why it takes really just the dumbest of the dumb to believe conspiracy theories, because most of us will be like, wait a minute, something's not right here.
Yeah, I mean, like, the point being is that you're not supposed to, okay? There's no thinking involved in this scenario. Dr. Dragon Rider with the tier 1 sub, thank you so much. 25 months listening in as always, but you're spitting well. Thank you, appreciate it, thank you. Ali with the 11 biddies, I appreciate that.
If the government staged the Capitol riot, wouldn't Trump then be just as liable for it as he already is? Like, you're just switching from one thing to another. Like, Trump couldn't have done it because the government did it. Trump was the government. Ah, crap, we still have to indict him. Like, you're not doing anything to not get this man indicted. You're just switching what crimes he would be indicted for if the government was responsible for the coup that day. Which, I guess technically, if Donald Trump is held accountable, then I guess that would mean that the government is responsible for what happened that day. I gotta tell you, it's a conundrum, folks. None of it makes any sense because we're not dealing with rational people.
Right.
Ted Nugent, obviously not a rational person. Donald Trump, definitely irrational these days, especially because he's so terrified of being indicted again for what happened in the lead up to January 6th, which is why he's now sharing these memes. Trump knows what's coming down the pipeline, and I think honestly he has a better idea of it than the rest of us. He knows what he did that day. He knows what he did in the days and weeks and even a couple months leading up to that day. We don't even know everything. But he does, and he's freaking out that justice is coming for him, that kind of tells you a lot.
I mean, like, the dude was priming the pump for months before a ballot was ever casted, okay? The dude was talking about, like, rigged elections because of the mail-in ballots, rigged elections. If he loses, then then it was false. Then it was a fake election, whatever. Like, the dude's been talking about this for months before a ballot was even cast. And then, like, the dude has been telling us the entire time what the process is going to be. He literally said there would not be a peaceful transfer of power. If he loses the election, there would not be a peaceful transfer of power. And so January 6th happened. "85% of GOP still call Trump president, even if they want DeSantis." Yeah, I mean, well, that doesn't really tell me much, right? That doesn't really tell me anything because, like, people still call Obama President Obama. So I don't know if that tells me anything. The Orange Thing has been pushing conspiracy muck his whole life. Well, it doesn't matter until he became president, right? Because, like, at that point he has power and did some serious damage.
About what he thinks he might be facing. And that, of course, is why he's sharing stupid things like this, because while the rest of us can easily tear apart this conspiracy, his base won't bother to poke at it, because if Trump says it, it must be the truth.
Ring of Fire has fresh content.
Yeah, like that. It's really just that. It's literally just that. It's just that. They're not going to question anything. They're just going to go with whatever feeling that it's that meme or whatever was designed to was designed to evoke. That's it. Obama does not have DOJ and felony charges. No, it doesn't matter. The point being is that the question, do you still call Trump President Trump? I mean, doesn't really tell me anything. Unless the question is, do you think Trump is the rightful president? Right? Then that would be a different story. I would have a different response to, do you think Trump is president? Hello, brother. I'm not your brother. What is your opinion of BLM? The Bureau of Land Management? The Bureau of Land Management? The 2020 election audits and recounts settled that question. Right, I'm talking about the poll itself. I'm not saying about the actual election. Did you discuss the Nazi black sun symbol used by the DeSantis in his recent campaign ad? Yes. So the black sun was used in a video that was retweeted by a campaign staffer who works as part of his campaign. Yeah, it was deeply disturbing. It's like indistinguishable from like fucking 4chan posting, and like, I mean, that's kind of like what they're going for, right? We see with the kind of videos that they post from DeSantis War Room, which is an online campaign, which is an online campaign arm for the DeSantis campaign. All right, it's literally just like 4chan posting. But yes, I did discuss it. Can we talk about the fact that Canada just sent 400 million worth of missiles to Ukraine? Take it up with Canada. This is not Canada. Thank you, Canada. Are you not willing to talk on Black Lives Matter? I don't see what's the relevancy of the topic at hand right now. What is the point of talking about Black Lives Matter? Do you think that Black Lives Matter, which is a protest movement against police brutality, is bad? If so, why? Do you think that police brutality is good? I don't understand what the point of even bringing that up is. Heat waves hitting US and Europe virtually impossible without climate change. The heat wave simultaneously blowing the southwest United States and southern Europe would have been virtually impossible if not for climate change, according to a group of scientists who study the probability of extreme weather events. A third heat wave in China could have been expected once every 250 years if global warming weren't a factor. The role of climate change is absolutely overwhelming in producing all three extremes, said Friedrich Otto, a climate scientist at Imperial College London, who contributed to the new research which was published on Tuesday by the World Weather Attribution Group. Speaking of heat waves, have you heard of China's artificial cloud system to produce precipitation cool down north of Beijing? You mean like cloud seeding? That's not like a new thing? I don't know, really, to be quite honest. The group is a loose consortium of climate scientists who study extreme weather and publish rapid findings about climate change's role in major events. The research methods are published and peer-reviewed, but this specific rapid analysis has not yet undergone a typical academic review process. Previous analyses by the group have been held up to scrutiny after their initial release and were ultimately published in major academic journals. Global warming has increased the likelihood of extreme temperatures so significantly that heat waves as powerful as the ones that are setting records in places like Phoenix, Catalonia, and in China's Xinjiang region in this July could be expected once every 15 years in the US, once every 10 years in Europe, and once every 5 years in China. This is not a surprise. This is absolutely not a surprise in terms of temperatures. The weather events that we are seeing, Otto said in a news conference, in the past, these events would have been extremely rare. The analysis provided another example of how shifts in global average temperatures can create conditions for new, harmful extremes. Scientists warned that the extremes observed this year are expected to worsen as humans continue to emit heat-trapping gases and rely so heavily on fossil fuels. Quote, this is not the new normal as long as we keep burning fossil fuels. As long as we keep burning fossil fuels, we will see more and more of these extremes. 6 climate scientists contributed to the recent study. It evaluated an 18-day stretch of high temperatures across the U.S. Southwest and northern Mexico, a 7-day stretch of high temperatures in Europe, and a 14-day stretch of maximum measures in China's lowland regions. The heat has been blamed for record-breaking power demand in China and outages in the U.S. and Europe, as well as crop losses or cattle deaths in all 3 regions. This summer has set records at a staggering pace. The year saw its hottest June in modern times and also experienced its unofficial hottest day on record in July. Phoenix on Sunday marked its 24th consecutive day of temperatures of at or above 110 degrees Fahrenheit, according to the National Weather Service. A township in Xinjiang, China hit 126 degrees Fahrenheit and set a new national high temperature record. Heat in Europe has shattered records and caused the closure of major tourist attractions. The heat wave that's dogged the southern U.S. for most of July will soon expand to cover much of the country. And it's not just heat creating hazards across the U.S. The country has experienced a summer of extreme smoke from record-setting Canadian wildfires, extreme precipitation that caused damaging flooding in the Northeast, and extreme ocean temperatures along much of its coastline. See Florida. Governments need to better adapt to protect people from heat. Julia Arrighi of the Red Crescent Climate Center said at the news conference. They are events that we should be able to manage within our systems. It underscores the need for our systems to adapt much faster because the risks are rising faster than we are adapting to it. And also, we're just continuing down the same path. No serious efforts have been made to change the path that we're on whatsoever. None. No serious efforts made by the players that need to make these moves have been made. Governments that need to be doing things are not. Our government and our government is not doing anything. That's for sure. Yeah, the heat is just record breaking. There's no other way of putting it. It's just record breaking. Shifting gears. 75, wait a minute. 75 degrees Celsius? Hold on. Wait a second. I think they meant Fahrenheit. Yeah, I think they meant Fahrenheit, okay? Buy stock in air conditioning makers, or have governments that are moving away from fossil fuels. Anyways, all right, everybody. I think they meant 79 Fahrenheit, not Celsius. That's right. Everybody would be dead at that point. All right. Now that we got that one figured out, I would be dead at 100 if it was sustained. I mean, if you stayed outside without any type of ability to regulate your temperature, meaning like air conditioning or water or anything like that, at 100 degrees, you can absolutely get extremely sick and suffer heat stroke. Judge blocks Biden administration's new rules for asylum seeker at the border. A federal judge has blocked the Biden administration's new rules for asylum seekers at the U.S.-Mexico border. The district judge, John Tiger, in Oakland, California, found the rules unlawful because they impose conditions on asylum seekers that Congress did not intend. Tiger stayed his own ruling for 14 days, giving the Biden administration a chance to appeal before it takes effect. The asylum rules, which took effect in May, make it harder for migrants to get asylum if they cross the border illegally after passing through Mexico or another country without seeking protection there first. So in other words, yeah, like I don't understand like why people think that, or why conservatives think that there's some kind of open border policy when like the Biden administration is currently trying to make it harder to get asylum. Tiger wrote that non-citizens who enter between ports of entry using a manner of entry that Congress expressly intended it should not affect access to asylum. The judge's decision was not expected. At a hearing last week, Tiger joked that he heard somewhere that 2023 was going to be a big year of sequels. Tiger blocked a similar policy during the Trump administration, and immigrant advocates have urged him to do the same in this case. So it's like literally the same thing. It's literally the same thing. He's basically trying to do the same policy. They said the same stuff about Obama, who set records for deportations. Yep, that's right. Simultaneously, they talk about open borders and also records of deportations. How can you square that circle? Logan Chance, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Immigrant advocates hailed that the ruling as an important victory for asylum seekers. The court got it right, said Melissa Crow, director of litigation of Center for Gender and Refugee Studies, which helped bring the lawsuit. President Biden's asylum ban violates our laws and makes a mockery of our asylum system. After the hearings last week, a lawyer of the Justice Department argued that the Biden administration's policy is different from the Trump-era version, in part because it's paired with new legal pathways for migrants seeking protection. They just need to say the words, right? Open borders! That's it. The Justice Department immediately said it would appeal the ruling. The Justice Department disagrees with the district court's ruling today. A DOJ spokesperson wrote in a statement calling the policy a lawful exercise of the broad authority granted by the immigration laws. A number of migrants crossing the border illegally dropped sharply in May and June after the new rule took effect. The Biden administration says the decline is due in part because of the new asylum rules, along with the mobile app called CBP One, which migrants can use to schedule interviews at official ports of entry. The first step towards filing a claim to it. Well, yeah, no shit. If you make asylum, if you make the ability to claim asylum hard, then yeah, you're going to have numbers that are going to decline. The Biden administration border policies have also been challenged in court by Republican-led states. They argue that immigration authorities are releasing too many migrants into the country to pursue their asylum claims. Wow. Wait a minute. So, like, the Biden administration is making it harder, or tried to make it harder, to seek asylum. And Republicans are saying that this is actually going to cause more migrants into the country to pursue their asylum claims? Question mark? They just needed to say releasing too many. Yeah, I see. I think you hit the nail on the head. I see. I get it. There are too many scary brown people, and we need to stop that. Got it. You hit it. You hit the nail on the head right there. All right, let's talk about this real quick. A domestic terrorist who beat an officer with a flagpole during the insurrection is sentenced to over 4 years in prison. Honestly, it should have been more. But okay. A domestic terrorist who beat a police officer with a flagpole attached to an American flag during the insurrection was sentenced on Monday to more than 4 years in prison. The domestic terrorist struck the Metropolitan Police Department officer with his flagpole at least 3 times as other rioters pulled the officer headfirst into the crowd outside the Capitol. The bruised officer was among the 100 police injured in the insurrection. The domestic terrorist also stood and screamed profanities at another officer who was seriously injured. Then several other insurrectionists dragged him into the mob and beat him. After the beatings, the insurrectionist or domestic terrorist was captured on video saying every single one of those Capitol law enforcement officers' death is the remedy. That is the only remedy that they get. Yeah. U.S. Judge Rudolph Contreras sentenced this domestic terrorist to 4 years and 4 months in prison. I mean, honestly, that's too light of a sentence, to be quite honest. This domestic terrorist pled guilty to a felony charge of assaulting police with a dangerous weapon. Prosecutors had recommended a prison sentence of 6 years and 6 months. Still too little. This domestic terrorist assaulted the officer during one of the most violent episodes of the insurrection, a battle between insurrectionists and police guarding an entrance at the Capitol building in a tunnel at the Lower West Terrace. His actions were, quote, the epitome of disrespect for the law. I don't think they're that smart, Dr. Dragon Rider. Can't the cops charge him with death threat against a cop? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that could be an argument for like making the sentences more harsher. But I don't know. Domestic terrorists joined a prolonged multi-assailant attack on police, which resulted in injuries to the officers. They wrote, this domestic terrorist wielded a flagpole and used it to strike at vulnerable officers, laying face down, no means of defending himself. The domestic terrorist job took him to Washington, D.C. on the day before then President Trump stopped the Steele rally on January 6th. He stayed overnight to attend Trump's rally after delivering a load of produce, a decision that he will regret for the rest of his life. And it doesn't seem like he was regretting it when he was doing it. So fuck this guy. His attorney said he tried to help others in the crowd who were injured after the riot erupted. Helped who? Shocked by what he saw, he had reached his breaking point and was seeing red when he picked up a flag on the ground. Once the adrenaline wore off, he called his wife to tell her that he was horrified by his actions. He was going to turn himself in upon returning to Arkansas. I mean, like, bro, imagine being lied to by a con man, being led to the Capitol, and then engaging in insurrectionary behavior on behalf of this con man who doesn't even believe the lie himself. How, like, embarrassing. More than 1,000 people have been charged with federal crimes related to the insurrection. Over 620 of them have pled guilty. Approximately 100 have been convicted, and nearly 600 have been sentenced, with over half receiving terms of imprisonment ranging from 3 days to 18 years. He was indicted with 8 other defendants on charges related to the tunnel battle. 4 of his co-defendants have pleaded guilty to assault. Another domestic terrorist was sentenced in June to 4 years and 9 months. Another one, 4 years and 3 months. Another one, 3 years in prison. I want to hear the phone call crying with his wife for sure. I'm sure it's not something where he's just bragging to friends. Yeah, I mean, like, he was not, he was completely fine, you know, saying things like death is the remedy for these cops. Anyways, the sentence is too light. The sentence is too light. All right, we're going to go over this one pretty quickly. McCarthy floats impeachment inquiry. House Speaker McCarthy decided that he was going to waste everybody's time by raising a possible impeachment inquiry. McCarthy has dangled the impeachment against Biden cabinet officials, but this one's the closest he's come to making that threat against the president personally. And the House Speaker went as far as to kill a right-wing effort to hold a House vote on impeaching Biden over his border policies last month. Because he has to know, I mean, like, dude, the border policies are not that much different, and he knows that. McCarthy said in a Fox News appearance that the House's investigation into business dealings by the Biden crime family, by the Biden family members rising to the level of impeachment inquiry. McCarthy said such a probe would provide the House the strongest power to get the rest of the knowledge and information needed. Citing testimony from IRS whistleblowers, the Hunter Biden dick pics, got it. Slow walked its Hunter Biden probe. McCarthy accused Biden of weaponizing the government to benefit his family, comparing him to Richard Nixon. Yes, because Trump didn't do that. Question mark? Biden's are as American politics pie as American pie, which isn't American. The DNC chair, Jamie Harrison, said in a statement the House Republicans' impeachment threat is to distract from their lack of any meaningful agenda on Trump's own significant challenges. Yeah, pretty much. It's just to waste everybody's time. White House spokesperson Ian Sams tweeted that Republicans' eagerness to go after Biden regardless of the truth is seemingly bottomless. Assistant Attorney General Carlos Uriarte on Monday offered to make U.S. Attorney David Weiss, who led the investigation into Hunter Biden, available for testimony. We are deeply concerned by any misrepresentation of our work that could unduly harm public confidence in the even-handed administration of justice, he told the House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan. Attorney General Merrick Garland last month rebuffed the whistleblower's allegation that DOJ officials meddled in Weiss's probe. Earlier this month, Weiss himself pushed back on the claims that he sought and was denied special counsel status to pursue the Hunter Biden case. The House isn't ready to vote on Biden's impeachment yet, a move many swing district moderates wouldn't go for, but McCarthy faces significant pressure from his right flank to go full bore. By launching an inquiry, McCarthy could be kickstarting a lengthy process that many Republicans hope will yield evidence to strengthen the case for impeachment. Translation, it's to waste everybody's fucking time. Republicans on the Homeland Security Committee are previewing what the process could look like by gradually building their case for impeaching Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Yeah. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. All right, so let's what did you expect them to do? Hold another Benghazi hearing? I mean, basically now we've got essentially, yeah, that's what's going to happen. Essentially, we're going to have like a bunch of useless hearings, a bunch of testimony that means nothing, and Hunter Biden dick pics. Yeah. That's Republicans at work. So I think that we should end on a good story, on a good win, right? On a good note, I should say. Teamsters UPS union wins historic contract, likely avoiding a gigantic strike. The overwhelming lucrative contract raises wages for all workers, creates more full-time jobs, and includes dozens of workplace protection and improvements. The Teamsters and UPS have reached a historic contract agreement, likely averting an economically devastating strike of over 340,000 UPS workers, according to an announcement by the Teamsters on Tuesday. This is why unions are so fucking important. We've changed the game, the Teamsters tweeted. The agreement was unanimously endorsed by the union's negotiating committee, but will be voted on by members early next month. The overwhelming lucrative contract raises wages for all workers, creates more full-time jobs, and includes dozens of workplace protection and improvements. the organization of the 5-year agreement. Rank and file UPS Teamsters sacrificed everything to get this country through a pandemic and enabled UPS to reap record-setting profits. The Teamster labor moves America. The new contract guarantees a $2.75 per hour wage increase this year, a $7.50 per hour increase over the life of the contract. The new minimum pay for part-time workers will be $21 per hour effective immediately. The contract will keep UPS Teamsters the highest paid delivery drivers in the U.S. The contract also includes guaranteed health and safety promises, safety and health protections including vehicle air conditioning, nice, and cargo ventilation. UPS will equip in-cab AC in all larger delivery vehicles, sprinter vans, and package cars purchased after January 1st of 2024. All cars get 2 fans and air induction vents in the cargo compartments. One such agreement agreed that the installation of air conditioning and improved heat shields in trucks. Motherboard have previously reported on the extreme heat that UPS package delivery drivers face in their trucks. I mean, like, given the current, like, status of the way things are, yeah, this isn't, like, an option anymore. This is literally like a health hazard. Record temperatures reaching over 120 degrees Fahrenheit, which cause sickness and even death. UPS previously hadn't included air conditioning in their vehicles, claiming it would be inefficient. Yeah, you know what's inefficient? Having your fucking employees, like, get super sick or die. Fucking ghouls. The union said the company had also formed a tentative agreement that would eliminate two-tier wage system known as 2.4 position, which workers had kept them working overtime hours without the possibility of a promotion to become full-time. The contract also bans forced overtime on drivers' days off base and will create at least 7,500 new full-time union jobs based. The contract follows months of negotiations and strike threats. In early July, contract negotiations stalled over issues of pay, benefits, and promotion for part-time workers. Both sides accused each other of walking out of the bargaining session, and no negotiations were held for 2 weeks. The Teamsters held practice picket lines across the country throughout July to prepare for the potential strike. UPS began business continuity training with its non-union employees, such as warehouse supervisors, to ensure that it would be able to continue to deliver 20.7 million packages per day in the U.S. Did the union threats win, or this news coverage of dead drivers? No. This is a good news. This is the union won. The union won. I just made a comment, like, because they said that putting AC in the truck is inefficient. And I said, what's inefficient is having drivers get incredibly sick or, die. Okay, I was happy last story, but you weren't selling us short. No, this is a good story. Well, there's a deal that seems good. Members will vote on it soon. Yeah, this seems great. Labor, the work, labor and unions get the goods. Strikes and direct action gets the goods. So yes, this looks good. And I'm very glad that the Teamsters were able to hold the lines and get this contract tentatively. So yes, it's very good. Very, very good. "12 days before the contract expired, the Teamsters announced that UPS had bowed to the Teamster pressure and asked to reopen negotiations after a hiatus of over 2 weeks. Based. Hello, 23-minute-old account. Is this all the same person? Why do I feel like these accounts are all the same people? Anyways. The point being is the Teamsters, at the threat of a strike, the Teamsters got the contract that was necessary, supposedly the concessions that were needed by the drivers, including wage raises, more jobs, air conditioning in the trucks. I mean, like, this seems tentatively like a good deal. I created an account just now so I can participate in chat. Been lurking without an account for a while now. Alright, well, welcome. Howdy, welcome. I don't even know who it is, but I love hazing trolls. I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes we can spot them right off the bat. Sometimes it's hard to tell because, like, at the end of the day, you know, they're just anonymous accounts. We stopped on a good story. Yes, this was a phenomenal story. And I'm glad. Strikes and direct action gets the goods. Hopefully SAG and WGR are fucking perking their greedy ears up. You mean the writers? Or you mean like Hollywood, I guess? Like the bosses. Okay, gotcha. All right, folks. Well, we did it. We got through everything. And just a minute shy out of 7 o'clock. So perfect timing, folks. We did it. All right, folks. So poorly worded? Yes. Yes to you. And all right. Understood. Folks, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out. And you get free emotes if you want to support the channel and cannot do so monetarily. Head on over to the YouTube as Michael Hassler has just posted the link in chat. Hit the big red subscribe button as 247 of you have already done. It really does help us out. Spread the word. Tomorrow we'll be here 5 p.m. Eastern time for a small birthday stream just to hang out. All right. Tomorrow is the birthday stream, so come hang out and enjoy some time just to chill. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all the subscriptions. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the biddies. You guys are what makes this channel grow. I appreciate it. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Thank you, Heat, for keeping the chat chill. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Alio. I appreciate it. Quick shout outs. There are 2 folks here in chat. I think I got it. All right. 2 quick shout outs in chat. Thank you, Echo Wrestler Dragon. I appreciate it. Thank you, Alio. Thank you, Michael Hassler. Thank you, Dr. Dragon Rider. Politician. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. The Simulacra. Thank you. Michael Hassler. Thank you. Let's see if I missed anybody. Religious Fruitcake. Thank you. Appreciate it. M. Oculus. Thank you. Conscious Canuck. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all for mixing it up in the chat. I think I got everybody. Cosmic Seeking. Michael Hassler. Wait, I think I already thanked you. Moving Train Media. Thank you so much for mixing it all up in the chat. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thank you. We will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. Aviana, I hope to see you guys tomorrow for the birthday stream, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.